These two coming up next have done exactly that. We have a D1 tennis player, and we also got a chemistry teacher who have retired from the amount of money they've made selling books. They've also built a software. They have students doing hundreds of thousands a year. They have a goal of 100 students doing 100,000 plus a year. This event would not be possible without Joji and Victor. Guys, give it up for BookMine.
All right. Well, again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being here. It was so much work that both of us had to put on. And
It started
really
like 6
Steve
months
and
ago,
Avery-
guys. Yeah.
So today we're here to talk about financial independence, retire early, also known as FIRE. You might be asking why that's not necessarily book theme. Well, one, the way that we were able to retire early was through books. So that's the connection. But the other thing is that what I really wanted to teach people when I started YouTube was actually how to start saving money, how to start investing. And I wasn't really able to grow an audience doing that because it's actually a harder concept to teach. Similarly, Victor as well was on a path, and it's kind of just crazy that we met years later. We're on a similar path where we had a 9-to-5 job, and we both learned how to sell books on Amazon. We started saving and investing a lot of money, and eventually we were able to reach our FIRE number, which we'll tell you here in a bit. But the point of me saying this is that the way that we can give value back to you all being here is that we know that you are all booksellers, and we want you to see how it is possible for you to be able to think about retiring early. And so
We just want to take it home. We actually want to make it possible for you guys. Both me and Joji, once we heard about FIRE, we actually were able to retire 7 years in. So you're thinking, why are we still here if we actually don't need a job? It's because we actually enjoy what we're doing here. This is what our passion is. I actually used to work for the Army as a data analyst, and that job was okay, but everybody owned my time then, right? I had to ask for time off. I had to, anytime I was sick, I had to ask my boss, like, are you really sick? And I wanted to own my own time. So both me and Joji, we went on this FIRE path, and we were both actually able to do it in 7 years. So add 7 years to wherever you are now, and you could literally just do whatever you want for the rest of your life. And it's possible. Both of us have done it, and we're going to just have that conversation today about it. So
Yep. All right,
let's
can
kick
you
it
go
off.
and click next slide?
Yeah.
So as you saw just up there, I started my financial independence retire early journey at the age of 23 with my wife. Victor, you started, I believe.
You want to go back?
Yeah, you started at the age of
30, I started at 30.
30.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might see our success as overnight success, and that might be because you're just meeting us for the first time, or you've only been seeing us for 1 or 2 years. But it actually has been a long journey. It's been 7 years for both of us. And go to the next slide, please.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, and so here are the benefits of pursuing financial independence. Is like, one, you can have the option to retire before the age of 67. So one thing that I was telling my wife was like, it doesn't sound cool to retire at 65. Like, I want to do what I want to do and do my passion projects well before that. I want to spend time with my kids, and that's one of the main
I want to
benefits.
spend time with my family. I mean, hang out with my wife, get to play pickleball. These are all things I want to do on my own time. And if I'm able to save the amount of money that I can, I can be able to retire earlier. Initially, I thought even 10 years. I was like, if I could do this in 10 years, this is awesome. Because I added 30, right? Time plus 10, that's 40. I would be able to retire. So it was a good plan.
Yeah, next slide, please. So what we're going to do is lay out the steps of how to reach financial independence. And obviously we don't have nearly enough time to go over all of them, but we're going to go over the first step, which is what we call growing the gap, okay? And so essentially growing the gap is this idea that what matters most is not actually how much money you make. Because you can make a ton of money, but guess what? If you spend it all, you have nothing left over at the end of the day, and you won't be able to invest anything. Really what matters is the gap between the money that you make and the money that you're able to save and invest for your financial future. So again, there's a whole bunch of steps, and we'll go through all of them. But again, today we're going to focus on grow the gap. So let's go to the next one.
Let's do it.
Okay, so why don't you go, Victor?
Yeah, so this is your full income, right? So this is your entire salary, and most people are actually only save about 5% of their income, right? That's the average American. That's about 5% of their income. They actually will be able to retire in 60, I think it was like 65 years. So you add 65 years to where you're at. It's actually from the start of your work to actually the time you're able to retire. Above average, that's about 15%. That's still quite a long time. I think that's like 40 something years. We actually have the actual
we'll show you
dates.
that.
Yeah, the years on the next chart. This is 15%. That's still like 37 years. That's crazy. But then when you're actually trying to get to FIRE, that's a crazy number here. This is about 60% of your take-home pay that you're saving. And a lot of you guys are like, how am I able to save 60% of my income. And maybe that's really a difficult thing to do. And that's why we actually, both of us have done the like fire plus side hustle, right? That's what we added the books to it, because we added, this is the end of our salary, and then we did the books on top of that. And together we actually had that savings, so we didn't have that high of a savings rate here, but because of the side hustle, we were able to have a really high savings rate.
And we want to preface this by saying that we are definitely weird, right? When you compare ourselves to the normal person, like you're like, what, you save 60+% of your income? That's insane. And it is insane. It is crazy. Like statistically, it's an anomaly, right? Which is probably one of the reasons why we get, we get
matched up.
We matched up, right? Is we were on the same journey. But growing the gap is this idea that saving like over 50% of your income is actually very difficult for most people. Why? Because you have expenses, right? You have a mortgage, or you have to pay for rent, and you've got children. And so growing the gap is, okay, well, I want to save as much money as I can. The best way to make a little extra money is through a side hustle. And Victor, what side hustle did we choose?
Selling books.
We chose selling books, which is why you're all here. And so that's our idea, is growing the gap. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, let's go to the next. Okay,
so step 2 is paying off bad debt. Okay, so ideally any debt over 9%. Why? Because later on we're going to teach you about what we invested in, which is essentially betting on the entire U.S. economy, investing in, let's say, the S&P 500 or the U.S. total stock market. And so ideally having no debt at all would be great, but specifically trying to get rid of any debt over 9%. Why? Because the S&P 500 over the last 20 years has historically returned, what, like 10% or something
10.6%.
Right? And so in other words, if you're having debt you're paying interest above that, you're actually going backwards. So in other words, get rid of that first, right?
Right.
Get rid of personal loans, get rid of high interest credit cards and car loans. So before you even think about saving money, tackle that first. Get rid of that. Okay,
I think it's really good to focus on car loans. Joji, do you have a car loan to your truck?
I don't have a car loan, so I still drive a 2002 Toyota Tacoma. I was extremely privileged. My parents bought me a 10-year-old vehicle when I was in high school, and I still drive to this day, even though I could buy many very nice cars all in cash. I choose not to, because to me, I think differently. A car is just to get from point A to B. What I care about is time, and I care about freedom, and I care about spending that time with my friends and my family.
Yeah, actually, we brag about stuff like that. So I thought I had one up on him. I was like, oh, I have a 2002 Toyota Solara. And he's like, oh, I have a 2002. Ah, dang. I paid $6,500 for my car. I still drive it today. And because cars are a depreciating asset. So you really don't want to put a lot of money into that. So if you have a car loan, definitely make sure you pay that off. And again, that's step 2.
Yeah. Let's go to the next step. Okay, so number 3 is actually finding your FIRE number. And this is actually famous from a blogger called Mr. Money Mustache. Has anyone ever heard of Mr. Money Mustache? He's in the FIRE community. And the idea is he calculated how many years you would have to work relative to what percentage of your income you save in order to retire. So in other words, if you save 0% of your money, so you make $1 million a year, but you spend $1 million a year, technically you'll never retire. Why? Because when you retire, you no longer have income. So you need to have some sort of nest egg built. And so what you'll see about this curve is that as you save a higher and higher and higher percentage, Victor, guess what? It takes less and less years in order for you to.
If you save 95% of your income, you can retire in 2 years.
Yeah.
If you save 90%, that's 3 years. If you're at 70%, that's 8.5 years.
Yeah.
So you can actually see me and Joji hit 75% of our income.
Right.
We were able to hit that to be able to retire in 7 years.
So essentially what that means is that I was a high school chemistry teacher. Every dollar that I made for 7 years of teaching went right into investments. And I used all the money I made from selling books to pay for my living expenses. And I was actually able to make more than enough money just selling books to also invest on top of that. So my wife and I saved about 75% of our income for 7 years, invested in the U.S. total stock market. And what about you, Victor?
Actually, when I first started, I didn't even know about books, right? If you actually do the timeline for me. So for a few years there, I was around 60% thinking I'd be able to retire in 10 years. But then I found books and it really skyrocketed for me. And I actually saved a little bit more than that. So it was about 85% to get to the 7 years. But yes, I'm also 100% invested into the S&P 500.
The key take home here is that you are in control of when you retire if you're able to grow the gap. If you are able to reduce your expenses, save money, and you're able to make additional money through book selling or whatever it is that you do. And again, it's a function of the percentage of how much you save. So again, if you're saving, only 5%
up there, 66 years.
It's going to take you 66 years to retire. If you're only saving 5% per year in investing it. But again, if you're able to save even 30% or 35%, you're looking at 28 or 25 years to retire. So you can control when it is that you want to retire is our point. It's in your control.
Once I saw this, this was game changing for me. And I was like, okay, so I can do this in 10 years. If I'm able to save 65% of my income, I got to do it.
Yeah. Okay, next slide.
All right.
Okay, number 4, focus on the 3 biggest costs. So obviously the first key to this is reducing your expenses, but then the next step is to actually try to create more money through a side hustle. But the 3 biggest expenses are housing. So Victor, I was living, my wife and I, and we were living in a 650 square foot apartment with 1 kid, and we were millionaires. We had over $1 million, and we were paying like $1,600 a month for rent. We just recently bought our house. So that was a sacrifice that we intentionally made to save more money. Why? Because if we had bought a house much earlier, even though we could have qualified and we could have technically afforded it, it would have slowed down our path. It wouldn't have enabled us to save so much money. And again, I want to preface this by saying we are very weird. We're weirdos. This is something that is not normal at all, right, to save this percentage. But we just want to offer a path because even if you do a small percentage of what we do, I think it can speed up your timeline 5 years, 10 years, and that's a big difference.
Exactly. And I did very similar thing. I didn't live in a condo, but what I did was I decided to buy a duplex. So I found a duplex that I was able to buy, and the left side of that duplex paid my rent every month. So I ended up paying maybe $100 a month in my actual rent, which helped me get to that 75% savings rate. So that is your biggest cost. And if you can bring the housing down, that really helps streamline the rest of it. And we already talked about the transportation. That was our cars. And then food. I mean, we cook a lot of food at home, me and my wife, and I imagine that's also the same with you, Joji.
Cook all the time. We would go out maybe once, twice a month at most, and you would be surprised if you actually track your numbers, how much money you spend eating out. And so these are the 3 biggest ways to do that. And again, I'm preface this by saying we're weirdos. We're weird, right? Most people don't do this. It is a sacrifice. But again, what's the sacrifice for? We're actually buying
to get our freedom.
We're not spending money in order to buy something that's more important, which to us is buying time and freedom. Okay. Next slide, please.
Let's do it.
Okay, so what did we invest in? We started stocking money away in the US stock market. So we invest in an index fund. Why? Why not put all our money in Tesla stock or put all our money in a cryptocurrency? It's just that it's way too volatile. I have no idea what's going to happen. It could go to the moon, but it could also go to zero. But what we did is we said, let's put a bet. In this case, the S&P 500, the top 500 companies in the United States, like Walmart and Target and Amazon and Google and Netflix. Why? Because fundamentally, what do we believe?
We believe that the stock market is going to continue to go up. America is going to continue to do well.
And what are we seeing over the last 150 years with all of these panics and depressions and drops?
People stress out each time this happens, but as you can see, the stock market continues to recover and continue to go even higher. Matter of fact, this is kind of an old chart. It's actually above 5,000 now.
Yeah, and so since 1957, the S&P 500 has delivered an average annual return of 10.54%. And that's free money, right? Because when you invest in an index fund, you're not doing anything. You're just living your daily life, and you're just letting time do its thing. Okay?
So I don't know if you guys have ever invested in the S&P 500 or how to do that, but you would go to like Vanguard, Vanguard.com, and type in VFIAX. That's for the S&P 500, and this other one is for the entire total stock market. So either one of those two there, and either one's a great. We both recommend both of those. I think you're actually in the full stock market.
I'm in VTSAX, the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. Essentially, what happens is when we invest into it, we're investing into every publicly traded company in the United States. And so what I'm betting on is that the U.S. economy over time, over the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, is essentially going to continue doing what it has always done, which is have great businesses, have people working in those businesses, making money. And the goal, again, is to build a nest egg so that we can reach financial independence and buy our freedom and our time back. Okay, next slide, please.
All right.
Okay, so how did we calculate what that FIRE number was? There's a there's a formula for it, and it's essentially 25 times your annual expenses. So if you can figure out right now what your annual expenses are, let's say it's $50,000 a year or $40,000 a year, all you have to do is multiply it by 25. And what that does is basically say that if you withdraw 4% of the value of your nest egg every single year, and it's currently all invested in the US stock market, you can essentially live on your money forever. Why? Because essentially, if the stock market is returning 7 or 8% after inflation every year, and you're only withdrawing 4%, there's actually a margin there, and essentially you never run out of money. It's like you're just always on this hamster wheel, you're taking money out, but your portfolio is still growing.
Yeah.
And Victor, what's really cool about the failure rates and the percentage of what you're taking out here?
Yeah, so you figured out actually, so your withdrawal rate is actually kind of important, right? So you say you have $1 million and you withdraw 4%, you're able to take out $40,000 every year for your entire life. And with a failure rate of only 7%. So you have a 93% success rate with that. But the higher your withdrawal rate is, the higher the chances of your the failure rate being. But this is all just assuming that you finish your job and you just no longer work. You no longer earn money at all, right?
Yeah.
And you could see both of us here, we're still earning money, even though we no longer do our jobs. But let's just say you decided, you know what, I'm done with my job. I don't want to work. I don't want to earn an extra dollar. A 4% withdrawal rate is actually a really smart thing. It's still 93% success rate, and you get, like I said, you get to just live the rest of your life without having to outlive your nest egg.
And this is based upon something called the Trinity study, which is a very famous study done. I won't bore you with the details, but it's called the Trinity study, and you can read
We're
it.
nerds.
Yeah, and it's essentially just telling you if you withdraw a certain percentage of your portfolio every single year, what's the likelihood that it fails or succeeds after 30 years, essentially. So our goal was to figure out what our expenses were, multiply by 25. So for my wife and I said we want to get to about a $1.5 million net worth so that we can pull out about $45,000 per year, which is what we were needing in order to live financially free. And again, we're weird. This is something that's kind of crazy, but we're doing it because we value above materialistic goods. We value what?
Our time.
Our time and our freedom.
Our freedom.
Right. Okay. And so again, we're prefacing that by saying we did this conference because we wanted to do it. We didn't do it because we had to do it. We did it because we want to do it, and it's fun for us.
Yeah,
So
I
hopefully that
came here
comes
2 days early just to plan this. This has
Okay,
been
let's
awesome.
go. Okay, next slide.
Let's do it. Oh yeah, we got 5 minutes.
Okay, so step 7, live on 4% of your nest egg, which we just said. This is me on the right. I play 3 to 4 hours of pickleball a day, and people come up to me like, do you have a job? And I'm like, I used to have a job, but I mean, now it's just being a steward of our money, right? And it's just making sure that we don't do anything crazy. And again, it's choosing to do things that we love. So I play a lot of pickleball. Victor plays a lot of pickleball. Where are you there?
Yeah, this is on the U.S. Capitol, right? Thursday around 2 p.m. I had an opportunity to actually play on the National Mall there, and it's just a picture of me playing. So great times.
Next slide.
All right.
Okay, so how exactly did we grow the gap? Well, we grow the gap by buying books on Amazon. We both saw charts. We're both chart people. We're analytical people. We're like, whoa, this is crazy. Wait, this is crazy. This is a graph of a book that in July and August and September was just at 50 and 60, and it goes all the way up to 120, 125. Okay, I understand this. I can be patient. I can buy it in the off season. I can wait, send it to Amazon, and I don't mind making 50, 75, 100% ROI on each book. So we use data to find undervalued seasonal opportunities like this. We buy books on Amazon and flip them for a profit. That's why we built BookMine. And let's go to the next slide. So what are we seeing here, Victor?
So
on the
this
right?
is one of your famous books, Joji.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a high school book, and what we really like is the repeated patterns, right? So we see a book that constantly spikes in August or July and August, and then has a value the rest of the time. So it's really easy for us to kind of see buy low, sell high, buy low, sell high, and it continues to have that same pattern. And this is just one of our great books here, but there are literally thousands of these books that we buy and sell. And so we do this so that we can, again, have that financial
so
freedom.
we can grow the gap. And
Yeah,
so this is
so we
how
can
we're
grow the
tying it
gap.
back to the beginning, right? The first step of financial independence is growing the gap. And so again, how did we grow the gap? Well, it's not only did we save money, but we started making more money by having a side hustle through books. And this is the way we did it with seasonal opportunities like this.
Yeah, one of the things people ask me, Victor, if you know the system, why don't you sell like a few $1 million worth of books? And I was like, okay, the most of my money that I get, I just put it in the stock market
with me.
instead of sticking of sticking it back into books.
Yeah, and so remember, our goal is to make money so that we can take it out of Amazon and then put it into the U.S. stock market, right? Because our goal is to invest in actually every publicly traded company in the United States, not just Amazon. Why? Because we have 100% control over that. So even if our Amazon accounts were shut down tomorrow, it's all good. We're still financially independent. It would suck because we definitely enjoy doing it, but that's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, this is just another example of the types of books that we're seeing. So hopefully if you're somebody who's good at looking at graphs, you can clearly tell this. And I can see Carter's eyes back there like, wow, this is amazing. So again, another.
It's very simple to see, right?
Yeah.
If you just look at these as mountains, right?
Yeah.
So there's a mountain here, a mountain here, a mountain here. You buy in the trough, you sell on the peak there.
And this happens to be a Christmas book, right?
Yeah.
Because this is November, December. So you see the sales rank gets very low every single year. It's repeatable every year. And you see how the used price spikes back up.
That was one of my questions, but yeah. What book was it?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So this is a Christmas book.
It's a Christmas book, right? Because it always spikes during November and December, exactly.
Okay,
All right,
let's go to the next slide. All right, so what we started to do is we started helping others find books. Why? Because I started a YouTube channel to try to help people start selling books. Victor, you started a Facebook group back in 2019. Our goal was to help
7
people.
years ago.
And even though we would give out free book leads, we would try to give out free game and teach people. A lot of people were still like, hey, we have a hard time finding books. So we said, hey, let's put our minds together and we developed BookMine. And so
To make it as simple as possible. So literally, the BookMine mines 4,000 books every 30 minutes. So let's just say you had enough money to buy all 4,000 books. In 30 minutes from then, it would have found another 4,000 books. That's how many books are on Amazon right now that are potentially profitable. And BookMine does that for you. Yeah. And it's simple as clicking a few buttons, sending it to Frank over there.
Yeah.
And and then he'll send it to Amazon. So.
My favorite slide is actually the next slide, though, which is even though we could talk about BookMine all day, my favorite slide is actually BookMine Mini,
which we just started 3 months ago.
We just launched BookMine Mini 3 months ago. It's 100% free. And why did we make it free? Because we wanted to give people in the community access to free book leads so that they didn't have to pay for anything other than the book to show the proof of concept and show that works. So we have BookMine Mini. It's just on our website. There's a couple pricing plans, but you go to BookMine Mini, you can sign up for free. And you're going to get a snapshot of how many books?
50 books every 2 hours,
right?
Which is enough to make 50, maybe up to $100,000 a year
in revenue every year, right? So not profit, but revenue every year. And so the idea is again just another way for us to try to give back to the community. And so what you can do is you can log on to BookMine Mini again, 100% free forever, and you can find a bunch of books that you can see have just dropped in price that are currently priced well below what they've been historically selling for. And so the idea again is we're just saying, hey, this is a great pickup relative to what the book has sold for, and so.
We took a random snapshot here. This book is actually in the 40s, and it was $15, right?
Yeah.
So we buy it 15, sell it 40.
Yep. Okay. Next slide.
Yeah.
So that's free to everyone if you guys want to are interested in that. And then at the end of the day, Victor and I are here to help. So we do value our time the most. We spend a lot of time playing pickleball. We spend a lot of time with friends and family, but we are ultimately here to help you be as good as you can be. So join Victor's Facebook group, watch our free BookMine videos, and our goal is just to help you not only grow the gap, make more money with book selling, but if you're also interested, think about starting your financial independence, retire early journey. Okay,
that's great.
Does that sound good?
Oh okay. Yeah, be consistent here. So make sure the thing that we do that I'd say a lot of people don't do as well is being consistent, right? So we always preach, make sure you buy 10 books a day. That's a really big thing for each of you guys. So even if you're thrifting, find 10 books that you have found that you can ship to Amazon. Make sure you automate your S&P 500 investments. So go to Vanguard, have that set up every 2 weeks. It takes it out of your checking account, and again, stay focused and stay patient. Yep. In 7 years, you could be where we're at.
Yep. Sound good? Okay, and so again, the magic is in the numbers. We come back to this final page of how many working years you have until retirement. It's a function of your savings rate. This is why, again, having a side hustle and also saving money is so important because you can grow the gap. And again, if you're normal, you're saving 5% or less per year. But again, that's why it's so hard for people in our country to retire. But again, our aim was 50+%. And our goal is, even if we can just move you from 10% to 15%, that's a huge
success.
That's like you saving 5 years of your life.
Yep.
Even if you move from 30% to 40%, I mean, that's like 6 more years of your life. So remember that it's a function of your savings rate. And if you have more questions, we're here to help. Okay. Thank you so much.
Man, thank you guys.
Thank you. All right.